He and his colleagues discussed the effects of early experiences over time, suggesting that two main models are currently used to measure how early experiences are measured um, throughout the course of someone's lifetime. They specifically speak to early childhood to adolescence. I believe it's 15 years old, um, or up to 15 years old, and to discuss the effects or the potential effects of the early experiences. They they point out two main models. The first being the revisionist model, the second being the enduring effects model. And both these models are contrasting one another and um, explaining how each experience can, in a sense, affect how someone develops over time. The revisionist model speaks to how early memories or early experiences can be forgotten over time. Um, so what Fraley and his colleagues are suggesting is the earlier experiences are overtaken by the later experiences. And I think Kagan 1980 he speaks to a they call outdated an outdated example, but it was something that we can relate to as far as the video cassette recordings. So we can think of that as memory being stored and overwritten by new memory. So what the author suggests is that over time there are memories and experiences that may last or have a duration of a certain amount of time, but that over time they begin to decrease, or they aren't as potent or as influential later on in life. Um, they also state that there are certain circumstances where those memories or those experiences are more poignant and they last a lot longer, and other circumstances where they don't last at all. During effects model speaks to how experiences do make a difference over time. They are prevalent and that they do, in a sense, matter, uh, and they do influence the outcome later on in life. So past experiences, they in this model, they are extremely prevalent, and they come oh, excuse me, the outcome comes as a result of what happened previously. So an example of that would be a child perhaps eating something that they didn't like early on in life, and later on establishing some type of aversion for that food, perhaps being sick from that food early on in life, eating something and getting sick from it, and then later on in life, still having and carrying that aversion with them. So what Fraley et al. Suggests is that some associations are actually stronger than others, and they become prevalent. So Bowlby actually has this idea that mental representations, or the representations that children hold, help them process information and help them maneuver through their environments. And it's a form of adaptation. So we've um, we've kind of gotten into the concept of assimilation and accommodation. I believe assimilation spoke to the spoke to children receiving new information and reinforcing the schemas and structures that they already have. So, for instance, knowing how to tie their shoes, right, or knowing how to um, task, and then finding out later how to do that task better or more effectively. So this the schema is still there. They still know how to do what they're supposed to do, but now new information is added that can help them get to their end result even better or in a more effective and efficient way. Now, accommodation is similar, but it speaks to getting rid of the old schemas um, and replacing the new schemas that are again more effective or more efficient or circumstance of that child. Um, so the associations that the child makes can either be strengthened or, in a sense, reconceptualized um, based on what the information that they obtain um, in the current or in the present. Um, what Bowlby is also conceptualizing is that these mental representations can change. They do fluctuate, and what was known before doesn't necessarily isn't necessarily conveyed to or relayed to the future um, in the future tense. More specifically, like what Fraley et al. Were suggesting, some concepts, some ideas can be overridden in a sense. The authors are suggesting that there are some effects. You can see that clearly there are effects that are prevalent in the outcomes of in later life. So early experiences do have some type of again effect on what happens later. But the thing is, it's 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 still unclear to what extent. Um, so there are some observable enduring effects that happen to be prevalent later on in life when you look at certain early experiences, but um, the degree to which these early experiences influence those effects and those outcomes is still not necessarily clear. But this was the purpose of Fraley et al.'s research. They are looking to, in a sense, give new ways to or give us as researchers new ways to conceptualize and analyze how early experiences affect later later outcomes in life, especially developmental outcomes. Fraley and his colleagues suggest that more research needs to be done on the confounding variables and the covariates that impact how social development progresses throughout life. Um, the study says that the revisionist model and the enduring effects models um, that they have some they are grounded in some truth, but that they don't give the full scope or tell the full story of how these early experiences impact social development. So many things like where a person's from, their social economic statuses, their cultural backgrounds, um, genetic dispositions, all these things, all these factors also play a part in, excuse me, how social development, cognitive development, all those processes come to be. Thus, this study is just saying or implying that more analysis, more investigation needs to be done on those confounding variables, on those covariates, so that more can be understood about how to measure the effects of early experiences on life later on.